All right, welcome back to Rock and Bear for Divisional Weekend. Rock, how was the wild card weekend? Pretty interesting to say the least.
Wow, I'll say this. Breeze and Brady are gone. Out with the old, in with the new. You've got in the playoffs Mahomes, Jackson, and Watson. Three great guys coming out of the draft. And there's going to be a lot of stuff going on in the next 5 years.
Sure, definitely a new breed of quarterback in the making. Let's start us off. This first game, we have Minnesota going to see the 49ers ahead of that West. Minnesota had a good game. They were able to get the job done against the Saints in convincing fashion. It wasn't a fluke. I definitely think that Kirk looked good, and the defense was getting to Breeze, which is, I think, what they need to do against the 49ers. Because the 49ers, Garoppolo, it's his first playoff game. You know, he's supposed to be their franchise guy. We'll see. I think the 49ers have going for them their secondary, and then they also have a top 5 offense. So they're able to be balanced, run and pass, and shut down the opposite team without trying to do the same. Cook should have a big day because the 49ers are 23rd in run defense. So that's going to make this game close. However, I'm saying the 49ers are going to get this game at home, and they're going to win a close one, probably by a field goal, maybe a touchdown. It's going to be an interesting game for sure, Rock. What do you think?
Well, you've got the defensive Zimmer versus the offensive genius Shanahan, who they say is going to have some special trick plays.
Yeah.
I don't know whether he's going to need them or not. But, you know, Minnesota held Drew Brees to 208 yards,
Yep.
3 sacks, 1 fumble, 1 pick. Even with 2 of those 3 DBs out, there's 3 DBs out this week. Zimmer should adjust to that. You've got Thielen, Rudolph, Diggs, Delvin Cook. You've got a pretty good-looking offense there. And San Francisco, they were half a yard from no bye, all right? Mm-hmm. Jimmy G did throw, even though he has no playoff experience, he did throw for 285 yards at Seattle, which was just like a playoff game.
Sure.
On the road, right?
Sure.
So he ought to have a pretty good game. Richard Sherman, who's he going to cover? Is he going to cover Diggs? Is he going to cover Thielen? You've got Bosa anchoring the rush. Cousins' wheels aren't that great, but I think they're going to be doing a lot of dump-offs. I'm taking San Francisco by a field goal.
Yeah, so we're the same, a close one. The Minnesota +7 looks pretty good. Tease it. All right, let's start this. The next game up, we have Tennessee going to see Baltimore. This should be a hard-fought battle. This should be a running down your throat, in your face game. Baltimore, when they run the ball, they're first in the rush. They're 5.5 in yards per carry, and also Lamar Jackson, obviously the most rushing yards as a quarterback. Then 36 passing touchdowns. So he's not just a running guy; he's a passing guy, and he's definitely quieted the doubters. With that combination, with their defense blitzing 55% of the time, that's going to give Baltimore the keys to victory. I think Tennessee is going to keep this game close because they have the offense to keep up with Baltimore if the defense can keep Baltimore honest. So I'm taking Baltimore to win by 7. So I think they're going to win by a touchdown. I don't think they're going to cover the 9.5, Rock. What do you think?
Another no cover. Well, as I predicted, my Super Bowl dark horse is Tennessee. Now here's the deal. Henry rushed for 180 versus New England, whose rush defense isn't great.
Yeah.
All right? Tannehill ranks number 1 versus the blitz. Baltimore blitzes, what did you say, 55%?
55% of the time, the highest in the NFL.
So all you got to do is slip Henry through on a draw play or throw him a screen pass. I'm predicting a big game for him. You know, Mark Ingram has a calf injury. Didn't practice this week.
That could be big.
Yeah, it could be big. I think I'm going to take this one. I'm going to stay with my Super Bowl surprise, and I'm taking the upset. Tennessee knocks off Baltimore.
Tennessee knocks off Baltimore.
They knock off Baltimore.
I definitely think Henry will have a big game. Baltimore's run defense is 21st in yards per carry, so that gives Henry a chance to definitely keep it honest. But I think Baltimore will outscore him, outpace him. So I think we agree on the keys to victory.
I thought Baltimore gave up 97 yards rushing per game, and they were number 1 versus the rush. Because I have number 1 versus number 1.
They do have a good yards per game, but the yards per carry is their weakness. Because a lot of teams don't run against them because they're coming back. They're playing catch-up. So that's what's going to happen. Henry's not going to be as much of a factor because if Baltimore gets ahead by 14, running the ball isn't the smartest thing to do. So I think that's why Baltimore's going to win. All right, moving on to a good rematch from Week 6. We got Houston headed up to Arrowhead. It's going to be chilly, a little too chilly for the Houston boys, but I think it'll be okay overall. It's not going to be terrible weather. I think this game should be interesting. Deshaun Watson and Watt, they're the leaders of their offense and their defense. We're going to call the Houston Texans the Houston Watts. Watson, the combo. He's playing hot. He should have got sacked for a loss, but broke 2 tackles and ended up winning the game. Kansas City, they're rested, which is good. I think they needed the rest to get all the guys 100% and get the game plan ready. Their defense is where they're going to struggle against Houston's running balance between Watson running the ball and Duke Johnson and Carlos Hyde getting passes and getting runs. They're 26th and 28th in rushing defense and yards per carry and yards per game. So I think that's where Houston has a chance to run the ball, keep it close, and control the clock. And Kansas City, they're 0-4 versus rushing teams this year that have an emphasis on the rush and are above average. So that kind of says Kansas City might have their hands full. I'll take Kansas City by 3 points in this game because both teams, have interesting seasons. Houston won earlier in the year, but Houston, they're 31st in third down defense. So that's going to give Kansas City a chance to get Mahomes in rhythm and take the game. So it could be 3 points, it could be 14. I think it's going to be a closer game. Both teams are playing well. I'm taking Kansas City by 3.
Well, Houston was getting smoked by Buffalo 16-0 until J.J. Watt made that sack.
Yep.
Flipped the whole game around. Now, Houston's 28th ranked defense, I can hear the wind blowing because I'm calling this one as a blowout, but let me tell you why. He's questionable with a groin. Even if he plays, they win a lot when he plays. Well, he's probably not going to play. Kenny Stills is questionable, but he'll play. I just think that Kansas City, your stats, they used to have a poor run defense, and people kept bringing it up on TV, and I'll bet you the last 5 games they rank in the top 10.
They've been playing better.
Yeah, they have been playing a lot better. Now, you got to stop Kelsey. You got to stop Tyreek. You got to stop McCoy, Mahomes, Watkins. I'm just got to tell you this. I'm going to just leave this with a pretty interesting prediction of 42-17 for Kansas City. Blowout.
All right, not so fast. On top of that poor run defense, they also have allowed the most yards to running backs in the air. So that really also speaks to the power of Duke Johnson in the pass game, who's actually got the 3rd most targets for Houston. So I think that's kind of says something that is not the same. And the one guy who can stop all those deep threats and all those options, for Mahomes in the passing game is Watt. If he gets pressure, he gets the team fired up, and he's in Mahomes' face. That doesn't matter who's downfield because Mahomes has to get by Watt first, which is a tall order. So this should be an interesting game for sure. Let's move on to the final game, Sunday night in Lambeau. Seattle and Russell Wilson and company. They're headed to Green Bay and company. I think Aaron Jones has everything he needs to be primed to win this game because where Seattle struggles is versus the running backs, just like the last game. They average 117 yards per game, 4.9 yards per carry. And they also, I didn't get the rank, but they're bad versus running backs in the air too. So that gives Aaron Jones everything he needs to have a big game, 2 touchdowns, and Aaron Rodgers at home. Need I say more? He's pretty much clutch, Captain Clutch. This hasn't been his best season, but their record's good. Their home record's good. I'm taking Green Bay. By 7 here, Rock. But I like Russell and DK to keep it interesting. What do you think?
Well, Seattle did have 27 first downs versus San Francisco. Okay, so that's kind of speaks well for them. Their offensive line is banged up. You've got the 2 Smiths that are going to contain Russell Wilson, who's 0-3 at Lambeau, 1-3 when it's below 30 degrees. Brr. The Packers are looking for revenge for that 2014 playoff loss.
Sure.
Seattle is 8-1 on the road this year, which could be the best in football. The Packers defense top 3 in all categories. Aaron Jones, 19 touchdowns, tied for McCaffrey for the best in the league.
Yep.
Okay, so he's going to have a big day. Devontae Adams is going to probably have a big day. Clowney's going to have to come up really big here. I mean, Clowney's going to have to come up and Aaron Rodgers throws a lot of shorties, a lot of quick releases, a lot of screen passes. I'm seeing the Packers by 10.
All right, so we agree Packers should win by a touchdown or more. All right, guys, thanks for tuning into this week. Be sure to turn in next week for the divisional championships. Let's see who moves on. Go ahead and put your predictions down below in the comments, and we'll see who has these 4 games right, and see if you guys agree or disagree with us. Rock, any sending off words?
Well, no, I think this is 4 games. I think we pretty much got it covered. I think that I know, or I don't know anything, but I know there's going to be one upset.
Yep.
Whether it'll be the Vikings, Tennessee, it won't be Houston. It might be Seattle, but there's going to be at least one upset, and I'm not exactly sure who that is.
Yeah. I think my 2 upsets could be Houston and Minnesota could take the games.
Houston doesn't have a prayer.
They didn't have a prayer that all season, and they're still playing.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson looked like Superman.
Yeah,
They didn't have a prayer at halftime last week.
Yeah.
And they ended up winning. So
yeah,
I'm not counting them out. I don't like them, but I'm not counting them out.
42 to 17. Get out of
42
town.
to 20. All right, guys. Thanks
All right,
again.
thanks
See you next
again.
week.